This feels a lot like being in the hot seat here. I'm trying to be a little bit stealthy with light, to be considerate of where I am, and you know that they don't love campers. So hence the USB lighting. It is the late evening of November 10th, 2025. I have been against the idea really of making a video about September 10th, 2025. I think it's interesting that tomorrow is the day of remembrance. War, violence, the people that fought for freedom, and just the horrors that were suffered in war. And I would like it to be known that I am so against war. I'm so against violence. I saw the internet kind of blow up after September 10. But I have to be really, really clear. I am not in favor of politics. I don't want my channel to be about politics. I see people that are possessed by politics, no matter which brand. Like, I mean, possessed. It is kind of like a possession. And it's not being able to see the good points of the opposite side of the aisle. These people are angry. They're so angry. And they make these posts about, and they just, I don't know what they think, but I firmly and strongly believe there is no political answer. Right? There's the yin-yang circle. And there's the dark, the light, and each has a circle of each other within. You're missing the picture. Both have really valid points, and I feel like they're both needed because they're each fragments, right? And we need to have the whole picture. We need to have the whole picture. And so, to make a short story really, really long, this is going to be my video about the shooting of Charlie Kirk. I even hate to say it, honestly. I didn't know him. I didn't. On September 10, my son texted me, and I happened to be just going to lunch. And he texted me, Charlie Kirk has just been shot. And I was like, oh, yeah, that name is familiar. So I searched it immediately. I was like, oh, okay, what's going on, Andre? You know, text him back. I searched it on YouTube, Google. There was nothing. This is how immediately my Gen Z 22-year-old son knew about this. I think he saw it live. I'm thinking he saw it live. Anyway, that's real life gore, actually, what a lot of people saw, including my son. And he also texted me within the same few minutes, like, that he didn't like Charlie Kirk. But he was so upset that he'd been murdered. And, I mean, my son likes a good debate. He likes to show up and, have his ideas challenge ideas. He likes a good debate. So I think it really struck him that, Jesus, that could have been anybody. Because, here's a guy, so I found out, touring around college campuses, having debates on a lot of Christian issues, conservative issues, and he was shot. So, I think that was really real for my son. Like, what kind of world are we living in that we can be shot for our opinions? I don't think that's a good thing. I have a different view, and it was really perfectly summed up by this little placard thing on a condemned building in Salt Spring Island. Peacemaking doesn't mean passivity. It is the act of interrupting injustice without mirroring injustice. The act of disarming evil without destroying the evildoer. The act of finding a third way that is neither fight nor flight, but the careful, arduous pursuit of reconciliation and justice. It is about a revolution of love that is big enough to set both the oppressed and the oppressors free. That honestly sums up my view. Just to be really clear, I don't want my channel or my relationships to be about politics, because it's such a fragmented view. Fragment, And I love how Chase, what was his name? Chase Hughes, Chase something, said that if you're at a family holiday dinner and one uncle has the MAGA hat and somebody else is flying the flag, the rainbow flag, that you two have way, way more in common than the elite, wealthy powers that be have with you. I mean, you know what? That's true. The routines, the meal prep, kids to school, going to work of the average person, there's so much common ground. We all have basic human needs. We want to love, be connected, be loved, have purpose, meaning. Then maybe you just want to be left alone. Just leave me alone, and I'll sit alone in my peace and quiet, and that's fine too, people that have had like way too much of the world, maybe they just want to be left alone. And maybe they're just fine, functioning in their little home and their own little environment, and, they go out and they do their chores, and I try not to judge those people either. You know, like, come on, man. I'm here all about seeking a better world view. One that allows us to find inner peace and peace within the world. So, there's a place for everyone, you know? As long as you're not out, you know, committing violence against babies and, you know, various other things, there's a lot of room. There's a lot of room to figure it out. There's no such thing as perfection. It's a weird fallacy, you know, like, what does that even mean? You have to be pretty fucking narrow, and then you can define perfection. In this particular thing, I am performing brain surgery. I would like to make sure that I can remove the tumor, debulk the tumor, without jeopardizing any of your other normal function of that area of the brain. There is a definition of perfect. If you're going to shoot a basketball for a foul shot, you know, perfect would mean it goes in the basket. You gotta be kind of on top of your terms, because I feel like myself and maybe a lot of my generation have been under this weight of trying to be perfect. But what is that? Like, seriously, what is that? Like, I think to be the best that we can be, we are really, truly seeking growth. Seeking growth. Where did I go wrong? What can I learn to be more, you know, compassionate, you know, human in the future? Being accountable, like, where did I screw up? It is not rocket science. It's messy. It's not science. It's messy. It's human. It's, you know. Anyway, that video on Salt Spring really sums up for me everything about it. Like, I have some, you know, I would say they're old friends, but I almost feel I have to say they're like old friends, because they don't seem like friends anymore, because they're so viewing the world through this, like, a political lens. And, like, they post and they sound angry. And I did a deep dive since September 10th on Charlie Kirk. I had heard the name, but I didn't know anything about him. My son said he didn't like him. So I actually absorbed, and still am, but like the first month, 30 days, I absorbed as much content as I could. Straight from the mouth of Charlie Kirk, and also, like, more than half, I would say, also criticism of Charlie Kirk, because I really want to get a sense of why do so many people love this man and hate this man, and why are so many people you know, mourning publicly around the world, according to social media. And also, like, you know, celebrating it. That's weird. I went through my own moral dilemma, actually, about people that were celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. It threw me off. It put me off, for sure, I'll be honest. But like, I started to search for that within myself. And I found it. What I found was that there was a part of me during the lockdown measures where provinces were closing, where I was separated from, you know, my partner, my son, my daughter, you know, where it was actually like, you can't go there. And I felt like I was being cut off from my family. And I knew someone whose mother was in New Brunswick with cancer, and they wouldn't let the family come to look after her. So because BC was more liberal than New Brunswick, more liberal meaning free, they brought their mom to BC so they could look after her. She was in her 80s. She had cancer. I actually felt really, really under threat. Like, under threat. Like, you're going to take away my family, my connection to my family. I'll have no freedom to see my family. And that was very serious for me. And so, honestly, if the people in power at the time, you know, or our leader at the time had met his demise somehow, I would have felt relieved. Relieved and maybe hoping that whoever's going to take over would, like, so with Charlie Kirk, with Trump, there are people, whether they are well informed or not, that feel like their very existence is threatened. I'm not really, you know, of that mindset, but it's so interesting how this murder of Charlie Kirk, this shooting of Charlie Kirk, has caused me such a deep dive and finding everything, both reactions, everything within my own character, within my own humanity. And it's that whole William Blake thing, that essentially every possibility that is imaginable is a vision of truth. It's a very long preamble to my Charlie Kirk video. My opinion, and I would say by now my deep sense of Charlie Kirk's life is, wow, holy shit. What an incredible amount of energy that this young man had, you know, as a 18-year-old to go around and, you know, he probably didn't know what he was getting into when people started donating. But I've heard some really, really incredible, insightful, helpful things of the clips that I've watched. I have also seen some clips where he's just being like, see, my lip goes up in disgust, like kind of condescending, needlessly condescending, right? And I think that's not good. See, oh, lip went up in disgust again. See, lip, when your lip goes up, it's like, ugh, you're disgusted, right? It's a universal kind of reaction. I think that was unnecessary. But then again, the dude was super young. And it would be interesting for me to know, for the clips that I really imagine, or sorry, for the clips that I really admired how he was very compassionate. I'd like to know how old he was versus the ones where he was kind of adversarial and condescending. Because, let's face it, he, as far as we know, was an evangelical Christian. And it was interesting in his conversation with Buck Angel, who is a transgender man, living as a man. If you don't believe in God per se, then Charlie Kirk would acknowledge that within your system of belief that you can't kind of come together. And I liked that. I thought that was pretty cool. One of the most interesting quote debates, it wasn't really a debate. It was more a conversation with Buck Angel. You saw how their different spirit views and world views and life views, you know, actually weren't that different, but they were different. And it was a really great conversation. I've actually made a video about that, and I hope to release that around the same time as this one. I've been so scared to release this video because I've been scared to make this video because there's so many people that are, and I'm going to say, succumb to politics. And the answers are not there. They're not there. I had a conversation with my goddaughter, my dear goddaughter, and it was about a month after September 10th, and I asked her, can I ask you about Charlie Kirk? And she didn't know anything. I know. So my goddaughter and another one of my friends who runs a juice shop, they are apolitical. They are transcendent of political. This is so important. It's so important. Anyway, if you are still here now, bless you for that, and thank you so much. Always seek a better worldview, you know, one that brings peace.